A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant legislative move, the House of Representatives has narrowly passed President Donald Trump's tax bill, a sweeping package that has sparked intense debate across the country. The bill, which passed with a slim margin of 218 to 214, just ahead of the July 4th deadline, is poised to have major implications for various sectors of the economy and for different demographics. The most notable beneficiaries of this legislation appear to be business investors and wealthy Americans, while certain groups, including elite universities and immigrants, are set to face new financial burdens. Under the new tax framework, the wealthy gain the ability to pass on more of their wealth to heirs without facing increased taxation. The estate tax exemption has been raised significantly to $15 million for individuals and $30 million for married couples, with adjustments for inflation. This change allows affluent families to retain a larger portion of their wealth across generations. Additionally, the income tax rate cuts established in 2017 have been made permanent, with the benefits skewed heavily in favor of high-income earners. The bill also modifies the state and local tax deduction, raising the limit to $40,000 annually for a 5-year period. However, this benefit will phase out for taxpayers earning over $500,000. After 5 years, the limit will revert to the previous $10,000 cap established in the 2017 tax law. Furthermore, the legislation permanently extends the pass-through business deduction, allowing owners of sole proprietorships, LLCs, and partnerships to deduct up to 20% of their qualified business income from taxable income beginning in the tax year 2026. While the private equity sector maintains its carried interest tax break, which Trump previously sought to eliminate, it also benefits from expanded interest expensing tax breaks. Additionally, consumers can deduct up to $10,000 in loan interest for U.S.-made cars through 2028, although this benefit phases out for higher-income individuals. The bill revives several favorable tax rules for businesses, including bonus depreciation for production upgrades and a research and development tax break, which have received support from the National Association of Manufacturers. However, industries such as coal, oil, and natural gas have emerged as significant winners, receiving tax breaks and new requirements that open more federal land for drilling, while competing clean energy technologies see their benefits phased out. In an effort to appeal to older taxpayers, the bill increases the standard deduction for those aged 65 and older and exempts tips and overtime pay from income taxes. Although these provisions are set to expire after 2028, the maximum child tax credit will also see an increase of $200 starting from tax year 2025 and is now permanently indexed to inflation. Parents can establish new Trump accounts for newborns, seeded with $1,000 from the government, for children born between 2025 and 2028. On the technological front, the legislation auctions off a substantial amount of radio spectrum for wireless broadband use, which could significantly benefit services like SpaceX's Starlink and future 5G and 6G mobile networks. However, the bill largely sidesteps tax increases that would have impacted large businesses, such as an increased stock buyback tax. In a controversial twist, the package allocates an additional $150 billion for defense spending, primarily directed toward new weapons systems produced by major contractors. It also earmarks nearly $10 billion for ambitious projects aimed at exploring the Moon and Mars, while simultaneously cutting Medicaid health coverage and food assistance programs that support low-income Americans. According to a Yale Budget Lab analysis, the bottom 20% of taxpayers could see an average annual cost increase of $560 as a result of these changes. The bill imposes new work requirements for Medicaid recipients, excluding only those who are elderly, disabled, or have children under 14 years old. Additionally, Medicaid beneficiaries who became eligible through the Affordable Care Act will now face cost-sharing through copays. Food assistance for low-income Americans will be affected by expanded work requirements for federal food stamps, which will now extend to beneficiaries aged up to 65. States will also be required to contribute to food benefit costs starting in 2028, a responsibility that has previously fallen solely on the federal government. The clean energy sector faces significant setbacks as the Republican plan rolls back many provisions of former President Joe Biden's climate law. Tax credits for solar panels and wind systems are set to be phased out quickly, while other clean electricity production and investment credits will see gradual elimination. Tax credits for energy efficiency home improvements and residential solar installations will also be eliminated by the end of the year. In a move that has raised eyebrows, the Senate rejected a controversial provision aimed at preventing U.S. states from regulating artificial intelligence, a decision that has been celebrated by tech industry critics. This decision is perceived as a setback for major tech companies like Microsoft and Meta, who had been advocating for a more uniform regulatory approach. Electric vehicle manufacturers, including Tesla and General Motors, will also feel the impact of the legislation, as the consumer tax credit for electric vehicle purchases, which could offer up to $7,500, has been eliminated. This change is expected to hinder the growth of the electric vehicle market at a crucial time. In a further twist, the bill imposes new taxes on immigrants, including a 1% tax on remittances sent to foreign countries, which will directly affect many immigrants who send money back to their families. Additionally, access to tax credits for health coverage premiums will be restricted for some immigrants, particularly those granted asylum or temporary protected status. Finally, gamblers will face restrictions as they will only be able to deduct 90% of their losses against their winnings, potentially leading to tax liabilities even if they break even or incur overall losses. As the implications of this tax bill unfold, it is clear that the winners and losers are sharply defined. Wealthy Americans and businesses stand to gain significantly, while low-income families, immigrants, and the clean energy sector face new challenges. The debate surrounding this legislation is far from over, and its impact will be felt across the nation for years to come. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.